Guys, so I figured I have a little bit of extra time today, so I'm gonna try and show you really quickly or relatively quickly how to do some concealer. So hopefully the quality is a little bit better this time. I'm gonna try really hard to make eye contact with you guys, but I am like new to this YouTube stuff and I'm learning what to do, what not to do. I'm using my phone, I'm not using fancy equipment. And so I'm learning that you want to use the back camera, not the front camera, but I can't. I've tried, and when I was using the back camera, I, for some reason, just kept looking really cross-eyed, and I was like, I don't think I'm cross-eyed unless I went my entire life and no one told me, and this is just like a hard truth that I need to learn about myself. I don't know, maybe it is, who knows. So for now, we're gonna see how the quality is with the front camera, and I'm just gonna do my best. I'm gonna look here, and I'm also gonna be looking at myself so I could see what I'm doing. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna show you guys how I like to do my concealer. What I typically do is I do a little bit of color corrector, nothing too crazy, a little bit of concealer or foundation on top of that. And the goal, or at least my goal, is to look natural. I want my skin makeup to look like skin, okay? I am very dry. I have some fine lines under here as I am aging. Don't ask how old I am, I'm not telling you. Yeah, I don't want to look like the Crypt Keeper, you know? That's just not a goal of mine. I don't want to look desiccated. I want to look hydrated and natural and just, you know, dewy. So I will start off by saying that I personally don't like to have that brightening effect under my eyes. I like under my eyes to match with the rest of my skin tone. So I don't typically go lighter in color when it comes to my concealer. I like to really match it to everything else that's going on here. Some people like to brighten it, and honestly, like, you have to do whatever makes you feel beautiful, but I don't feel beautiful when I look lighter under my eyes. If anything, I feel like this is a trap we could all fall into, like a lot of us. But I have noticed that a lot of times when people do that like brightening effect and do go a lot lighter than their skin tone, it shows more, okay? And like we're concealing because we're trying to hide shit, right? But when a lot of people go lighter or really thick, it is showing all of those things that we're trying to hide. It's showing off all those imperfections, all those fine lines, those things that we don't like. It's showing them off. So let's not do that. Yeah. So I've noticed that a lot of content creators, they'll take their concealers, and this is just an example. I'm actually not going to use this one today, but I'm using it as an example. And they will go wild. They will go ham, and they'll do like whatever's trendy. They'll do like a triangle shape, draw on a friggin' heart, a star. I have no idea. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they know what they're doing, but it does not look good. You know what I mean? And so there's a huge difference between what you guys are seeing in social media versus reality, okay? There's a huge difference between how things translate onto a camera versus how you see them in real life. So I am going to show you, not just in this video, but pretty much every video going forward, how to feel and look beautiful, but in a realistic way. So let's get started. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with color correcting with my Natasha Denona. This is her corrective color. I am using the shade C1. Now, I am kind of like switching on and off right now between this one and her other one in Y1. I'm doing that because I can't tell. I'm trying to figure out if I'm more purple or if I'm more blue under my eyes. And so those two color correctors, like more of a peach tone and more of a yellow tone, are gonna have different results depending on if I'm more purple or more blue. So this is something we all gotta find out, but I don't know, let's try and find it out together, okay? So I like to go in with my BK Beauty brush in 207. Now, I think this is like a detailing smudger brush, but I love to use it under the eye area because it's perfect for just detailing just small targeted areas. And so what I want to show you, I'm going to do just one eye so that you guys could see the difference between this eye and this eye. But basically I have a little darkness under here, but it also creeps up into here. And so I'm going to show you how I take care of that. And I'm just going to leave this one alone so you could like see the difference there. So I am not gonna go directly in there like you see pretty much every single person on the internet do. I am going to take a little on the back of my hand. And so this is what that C1 color looks like. It is definitely like more on the peach side. And I'm gonna go in and just get a little bit on the brush. We're gonna work in very thin layers. If this is probably the biggest thing I could convey to you, thin layers is gonna be the best way to go about this because we want this to look natural. We want it to look realistic. I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to go outside and look like, you know, I got caked on makeup. Maybe when I was like 20, but I'm not 20 anymore. So let's go in. And I am going to press right into where that darkness is. Now I'm gonna bring it up because I told you earlier that darkness goes up here for me. I'm not saying that you're gonna be like this. Everyone is completely different. Some people don't need color corrector at all. Some people don't even need concealer, to be honest. So a lot of people I bet could get away with like tinted moisturizer or just bringing their foundation up. And I actually do that too sometimes. So I'm just gonna show you how I bring it just where I need it, where that darkness is. And another thing I really wanna convey to you guys is, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is like such a great tip I'm about to give you, okay? So appreciate it. So don't bring your concealer or your foundation all the way up to your lash line. I'm telling you a little secret. This is, if you do this, if you bring it all the way up, it is going to make your eyes look smaller. Even if you have big eyes, like I have big eyes. But if I bring it all the way up, it closes my eyes off. It's like this optical illusion. It's not a good one. It's not a nice one, but I definitely recommend keeping the concealing to just where you need it. And so I'm talking as I'm letting this set down a little bit, okay? And also another reason why you don't want to bring it all the way up under the eye is because it's going to crease. Most people have a fold there and it will inevitably crease. And that is yet another reason why we work in thin layers, because we don't want it to crease. We want it to look natural and we don't want it to crease. And this is not like news. Like, I'm sure the rest of you watching this feel the same way. You're like, yeah, I don't want my concealer to crease. It's gonna look crepey. It's gonna show off every fine line. It's gonna look caked on. You want it to look natural. So now I feel like that is pretty well set. You don't want it to dry down all the way. And also a little tip too is like, while you're waiting for this to dry, like when you're doing this yourself at home, you could go about the rest of your makeup and do your eyeshadow and stuff like that. But don't forget that you got concealer under there, because if you just do the rest of your makeup and you walk out the door like that, it's gonna be like a couple of hours later that pass you by, you're gonna pass by a mirror, you're gonna look in it and you're gonna be like, oh shit, I completely forgot to blend that out. So don't let that happen, okay? And now I'm gonna use my BK Beauty Nicola Rose N14 brush, and I am just gonna tap into that where we put that color corrector. I'm just tapping into it. And I kept the rest of my makeup pretty minimal. Like, I just have on some basics, like regular foundation, a little bit of powder, blush, a little bit of highlight, bronzer, but like I kept it simple so that nothing would be distracting. So I am just tapping that in, blending it out. And already you could hopefully see the difference between under this eye and under this eye. Like this definitely looks more of like that beautiful bruise color that I just love. And so I am just effectively covering that up on this side with thin layers. I'm gonna go in once more with a super fine thin layer. And I am just going to hit it just once more before I go in and put the concealer on top. And so I'm gonna go back in with that detailing brush, the 207. And don't worry guys, I'm gonna link everything. And I'm just gonna let that set again a little bit and just putting it right where that discoloration is, because this is a color corrector and I'm just trying to cover up that discoloration right there. I also have like hyperpigmentation down here, but I mean, I put on a decent amount of foundation, so you might not be able to see it, but I definitely wanted you guys to be able to see the discoloration that I've got under the eyes. And so now I'm just gonna go back, tap it with the N14. And if you feel like you have a lot of fine lines under your eyes, you could like look up as you're tapping it in. And again, you really don't want to go all the way under the lash line. You don't really want to touch that. I mean, you do you, right? Like you do what you want. I'm not here to stop you. I'm really just here to give you some pointers, some suggestions, a little bit of makeup advice. But honestly, at the end of the day, this is makeup. Do what makes you feel beautiful, okay? And so I'm just showing you guys what I do. And so already without any actual concealer, this is just corrector. Like I'm hoping you could see the difference. I'm getting real close. And so I took out a lot of that blue purple. You could see it on this side and gone. It is gone on that side. Oh, I love makeup. I love it. Okay, so for today, I mean, it's not always just is, I do it a lot actually, but I'm gonna go in with my Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation. It says foundation technically, but it is such a lightweight gel formula. It's almost more like a tinted moisturizer, okay? It's very like lightweight, very light coverage. Actually, just so you guys might have like a better visual in your mind of how this performs, this is what they used in the show Euphoria. It was a show where they were all supposed to be teenagers in high school, but let's be serious, they were probably like 30 years old. And so anyway, they wanted them to all have very natural, realistic looking skin. It was like a really important thing that it was either the writer or the director. It was like something they really demanded. They were just like, no makeup on the skin. And the makeup artist was like, sure, yeah, no makeup, sure. And she knew though that this was gonna look realistic and help them get away with like looking a little more perfected while still looking realistic. So just a little bit of backstory so you know what I'm using and why. So I have a little bit on the cover already, and this is what I used on my face today. And so I feel comfortable like using it as my concealer, you know, but I did take out two like regular concealers so that you could see some other like recommendations. This is the Kosas one. It's a great one. In case you didn't know and you missed it, I have really dry skin, and all of this is gonna be more for dry skin. So this is gonna be incredibly hydrating. Actually, this one from NARS, their concealer like this one I feel like anyone could get away with, honestly. Like combo, oily, dry, whatever skin you have, you're probably gonna really enjoy that one. Okay, so I am gonna go back in again with that BK Beauty 207 brush. I'm gonna take a little bit of product out of here, put it on the back of my hand, and I am just gonna layer right on top of where we were. And so this one's not a corrector, and this should just match my skin tone better. But also I love the coverage, like the finish of it. It's gonna give me that really like beautiful, dewy, natural look that I just love. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to look older over here. I'm trying to look younger if possible. So now I am gonna go in with another BK Beauty brush. I swear I have other brushes, okay? I swear to you. And this is the N16, and this is like a flatter brush, and I love it tapers to a point in the middle, and it has these like longer bristles, which is great for stippling and blending. It's a great brush. Honestly, I feel like all of the Nikki LaRose brushes from BK Beauty, they're awesome. So I'm just gonna go in and tap it this way. And again, I'm not bringing it all the way up. I know I'm being repetitive, and I hope I'm not being a pain in the ass. I don't wanna be annoying, but also sometimes you gotta repeat yourself. So I just want to help you guys get a nice natural coverage under your eyes. And I'm hoping that like I'm making it easy and simple enough for you guys to feel like you could do this at home yourself. Like, I want you to have that confidence and feeling comfortable that you can do this, because I promise you, you can do this. If I can do it, you could do it, okay? So I'm just gonna put a little bit more on, really perfect it. And I'm just tapping. And obviously this is so much quicker when you're just doing it yourself and you're not discussing and talking about it as you do it step by step. So when you are just at home doing your makeup yourself, this is gonna take you a minute, maybe, you know, maybe 2 minutes, depending on if you're gonna kind of pause while you're letting it set a little bit and go about your eyes or whatever. But it's really not gonna take you too long at all. And so, yeah, I think that's looking really good, really natural. And I'm hoping you could like, I'll get close. I'm hoping you could see a difference between that side and that side. It looks natural. It looks skin-like. It's got that glow, that dewiness, but without looking sweaty, you know? And then this side, it's not horrible, you know, by any means, but you could definitely see the darkness, a little bit of that hyperpigmentation right there, and nothing on this side. It looks pretty perfect. So yeah, I love those products. And what I'm gonna do now, I don't always go in with powder, but I know some people are just diehard powder girlies out there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set it with my favorite setting powder for under the eyes, which is the Pat McGrath Labs. It is her blurring Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. Like, oh my God, these names are just so friggin' long. Anyways, it's Pat McGrath's under eye blurring powder, okay? I'll link it. So I'm gonna go in, and actually this is a Kaleidos brush. This is the Duo Fiber Contour Brush in C2. I am picking this because I like how it's tapered. I like that that's gonna fit against my eye, that contour right there. And I like how it's very lightweight. So it kind of reminds me of some of my Fude brushes that I'm obsessed with. So I'm just gonna tap that in there. I'm actually gonna tap off the excess, and I am just gonna blend it into the eye. Tappy, tappy, tap. And honestly, even though this is meant for like under the eyes, it's makeup. There are no rules. Do whatever you want. And I will actually set my entire face with this if you want. So I do like to do that. And you could always go in with another layer if you feel like you need it. And if you feel like you are really prone to creasing, okay, I will suggest before putting your powder on, like pretend I already put concealer on this side, but I didn't powder it yet. What you wanna do is you wanna go in and just kind of either use your brush or your finger and just really press in to where you find that you get that creasing, and press it so that you're kind of getting it out of the crease, and then go in and set it. Because if you don't do that and then you go in with your powder and you set it, you're basically like setting the crease. So we don't want that. So we'll just set that. And like I said, you could set the entire face with this. It's such a great powder. And I mean, little side note, something I just realized is, so she makes a couple of different colors of this, and this is her light one, which is basically translucent. But anyway, because I'm so like melanin challenged, okay, I have to try and find bronzers that are either incredibly light or really sheer. And so I bought her her sheer under eye blurring powder, but in dark, and I did that on purpose as a bronzer, and it is so beautiful. So if you are pale and almost dead looking like me, then you might like that as an option for yourself. I would definitely like recommend going and trying it first. But even though it's a deep color, it's incredibly sheer and it's a great bronzer. But sorry, I got like a little sidetracked from concealer. Okay, so I mean, yeah, that is it. That's the look. And I hope that you could see, if I get really close, I hope that you could see a good difference between those. I see the difference, but I'm hoping that it's gonna like translate through the lens to you guys, because you never know. Because up until now, I thought all my videos looked good, and then I upload it and it's shit. So you just never know what it's gonna look like. Okay, let's really quickly go through what we did. We used a corrector. Now, just keep in mind, there are so many different color correctors. You have to figure out what it is that you're trying to correct, like what tone it is. Is it blue? Is it purple? Are you a little more yellow under the eyes? Because then you might actually want something that's like lavender. So figure that out first, then get your corrector. If you even need one to begin with, you might not even need a corrector at all, okay? And then you're gonna go in and blend it. You're gonna target it with a detailed brush. Doesn't have to be this one, but definitely use something small, okay? And you're gonna keep it under the lid so that you don't crease and you don't mistakenly like make your eyes look really, really small. And then you are gonna use whatever you're using. You could use your foundation, you could use your concealer and throw that on top of the corrector. And then you're gonna blend that out. And there's so many different brushes you could use. You could use a brush like this one, which is definitely larger, more rounded and fluffy. And again, that's the N14, and that's such a great blending brush. And then you could go in and you could tap with the N16 and tap with this sideways on the flat side. I love these. They're like my concealing essentials. I love these so much. They're awesome. They're amazing. BK Beauty has great brushes. They're all synthetic. So if that is what you're looking for, definitely hit this brand up. And then you're just gonna go under with your powder, tappy, tappy, tap, and that's it. You're good to go. I mean, your last step basically could be your setting spray. My personal favorite is the Charlotte Tilbury one. But again, I love that for personal reasons, also because I'm dry. So if you're oily, I feel like there's other options. If you are oily, you have the One Size from Patrick Starr. You have any of the Urban Decay all-nighter ones. Those are all great. There's just so many, and they are more effective for oily skin because they do have alcohol in them. And the Charlotte Tilbury one does not. It's like incredibly hydrating. So I don't know. I feel like we went through everything, and I just really hope that was helpful. So hopefully the quality is better this time and I didn't fuck it up. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with me, and let's do it again sometime.